Here is Willie Randolph, who broke in with the Yankees, who didn't break in with the Yankees, with the Pirates, traded to the Yankees in '76, was with Yogi for a good part of a decade. We're going to talk to Willie about the passing of Mr. Berra. Willie, welcome. How are you today, okay?
I'm doing good, Chris. Thanks for having me on to reflect on my buddy and celebrate the life of the great Yogi Berra.
That's the key word, celebrate. When you got there, Willie, 76, DiMaggio's still alive, Mano's still alive. It's almost like the world forgot how great Yogi was. When you got to the Yankees, did you realize that Yogi was so instrumental in those great Yankee teams in the 40s and the 50s?
Yeah, I did. I grew up in New York, obviously, and I followed the Yankees a little bit there. And Yogi was that pillar, that rock in the middle of the lineup. And even though those guys were the big boys, he was the solid part of that ball club. So I knew about Yogi, and again, when we go to old-timers games, you can see how much everyone loved him. And even though DiMaggio was in the room, Mantle was in the room, and all those kind of cats, Yogi was the one that everyone gravitated towards.
Did DiMaggio and Mano love Yogi? I know Mano did. How about DiMaggio, Willie? Did DiMaggio love Yogi?
Yes, he did. I think everyone did. Yogi was just Yogi. So, DiMaggio was kind of stiff in the corner there. Everyone didn't approach him as much, but Yogi was a great needler. He loved to have fun, Chris. So even if DiMaggio was kind of being DiMaggio, Yogi would break everybody up and needle him, get on him, Billy, Mickey. They would always needle him enough to loosen him up a little bit. So Yogi was the big attention in the room.
All right, before we get to his managerial career that you played under him in the early 80s, how about there with Billy there as a manager? I didn't love Billy, and he sort of had to get involved with the whole thing with Reggie and everything else. Yogi had, he had no ego.
No.
Quiet. How about Yogi as a coach first, Willie, in those 3 years, 76, 77, 78, which were tumultuous as far as the Yankees were concerned?
Yeah. Yogi was always behind the scenes, but, Yogi was the kind of guy that if you could walk up to him, Chris, and start talking baseball, it was like a walking encyclopedia. I mean, he would just give you stuff that would just click for you. He would just be very simplistic in his approach, and it always got you back on track. And he was always consistent every day. He kind of reminded me the way Don Zimmer was with the Yankees. He would sit on the bench early, would come into the ballpark, come into the clubhouse, and he was always there giving up his knowledge or whatever. So, people thought that Yogi wasn't the brightest guy in the world, but he was sharp as an attack, and he understood the game, and he knew it as well as anyone. I would love sitting talking baseball with him all the time, man.
And he was a historian. He knew all about, Babe Ruth Day in '48. He was there. Cy Young, he knew all about that. Yogi was a great historian about baseball. Had a memory like an elephant, did he not, Willie?
He did, and he would just recall things, and he would just look at your game, and he could tweak you in different ways. He was just a person that you just loved being around and I had him as a coach. He managed me, and then later on I had the honor, Chris, when I was managing the Mets. He would stop by the clubhouse over at Shea and sit with me for hours. And I was so impressed with that because I knew that Mr. Steinbrenner found out about it, he would get in trouble, but Yogi didn't care. He was like, he called me Shorty, and I said, what do you mean calling me Shorty? I mean, I'm taller than you, And it was just a character that we all loved, and I never will forget how he used to sit there with me and we talk baseball, and he would support me till the end. And to this day, going to his tournaments and the Yogi Berra Museum, we were just tight, and I'm going to miss him a lot. It's just a tremendous individual.
All right, how about the early 80s there he manages? I mean, in between all the Billy Martin nuts and the circus, he manages a lot, has the 1 year, 84, and then George gets him out of there after 16 games in 85, and he never forgave George. Took him 12 years to forgive him. That team sort of had trouble getting out of their own way. It wasn't Yogi's fault.
No.
How about trying to manage that Yankee team with George there in 84, 85 as Yogi had to do?
Yeah, it was very difficult, and that year was tough for everyone because everyone loved Yogi, and we knew that we underachieved that year. And when George came down and gave him the axe, it took us a long time to get over that because we knew that it wasn't Yogi's fault. And he was the kind of guy that backed up 100%. So it was tough that Yogi left for a while. It was like maybe 5 or 6 years he was gone, maybe, Chris, something like that.
Yeah, the 12 years. Yeah, 12 years.
Wow, was that long? Wow. And again, he was just had a lot of pride, and he knew good and well that he did the best he could with that ball club. So, he's an icon. Everyone wanted him back. Susan Wallman, broke it, that whole thing, and got him back in there. And everyone benefits from that, not just the players and the coaches, but the fans love him too. So, I mean, he's synonymous with the Yankees. He's what legacy is all about. And And again, I'm glad that things worked out at the end.
Did Don Baylor, is that story true there, Willie, that after he was fired there in Chicago by Clyde King, Don Baylor went nuts in the clubhouse throwing garbage cans around? Is that story true?
Yeah, everyone did. That's how much we love Yogi. I mean, it was just, we knew that we were a team that was supposed to contend that year, and we just didn't get off to a good start. And George, as you know, wasn't very patient back then. But there was a lot of that going on where guys just looked in the mirror and go, you know what? We got this guy fired because we didn't produce, but it wasn't because of Yogi. And that's just, again, how beloved he was, because we really felt bad. Guys get upset when a manager gets fired every once in a while. They might express that. But we really made us sick, because we knew that this guy was a Yankee icon, that he was the guy to lead us, because he let us play. I mean, Yogi was simplistic, but he put us out there and backed us to 100% and let us play. And so when he got fired, we all felt that it was really on us.
And 99 he came back, so it's 14 years. And let's not forget, too, Willie, he got fired in 64. The Yankees make that deal with the Cardinals. They're going to have Johnny Keane manage in 65. Yogi manages in 64. They lose a 7th game in St. Louis. That wasn't Yogi's fault. That's the famous Phil Linz deal when he throws the harmonica away in the dugout. But he got fired twice from the Yankees as a manager. This is the great Yogi Berra. And both times, in the one time in 84, he manages Game 7, and 64, he manages Game 7 of the World Series. So it happened a couple of times to Yogi with the Yankees. You know that?
That's right. But he was just, Chris, he was just one of those guys that was best for those ball clubs. I really believe that. Even when he got fired later on, there's certain guys that you love playing for, like Bob Lemon did back in 1978 when Billy got fired. There's certain guys that just understand how to work a room, how to manage ball players, how to instill winning in them. And even though he wasn't a great philosopher, even though some people thought he was with some of the Yogiisms, but he just knew how to lead his ball club. And the players had tremendous respect for him. And that's why it hurt so much when they let him go.
And not only that, the Yogiisms, he is smart as a cat, and he laughed all the way to the bank. I mean, he may have thought, that may have been Yogi, but he knew what he was doing with those Yogiisms, did he not, Willie?
He did. He was smarter than you thought he was, man. But he just loved to just to be real, just say what's on his mind, just try to explain it as simple as he could. And you laugh at him, he'd look at you like, what are you laughing at? I'm serious, I got a few Yogi stories I can tell you, but I'm sure everyone has them all. But, I just remember, again, the times where I was a rookie, and he made me pay for the cab, getting out of the cab one time in Chicago. And it was funny because I thought about it afterwards. I went, you know what, damn, Yogi, you're pretty cheap son of a gun. But the bottom line is that it was an honor for me to even share a cab with him at 21 years old.
Wow, so he made the rookie like he had to pay the cab for DiMaggio in 46. He made Randolph pay for the cab 30 years later,
right. That's why he did that, because I was thinking to myself, I'm 21 years old. There's no way he's going to get out of the cab and leave me here. But he was just laughing at me and walking away from it, man. But, to this day, those are the memories I have of him, man. And like I said before, man, he used to sit with me at the ballpark. I don't know why, again, he called me Shorty, but, again, a golf tournament and what he did with the museum that people should go by and see to this day, he's done a tremendous thing in his foundation. So, again, I'm going to continue with Ron Guidry to keep that legacy going. We're going to co-chair his golf tournament next year, and I just wish he was going to be there, but he's done a great job at the museum. And everyone flocks there every year. It's a great event.
Good job for you, Willie. Thanks for a few minutes. We'll keep in touch. Appreciate you coming on today, pal.